Yep, there we go.
I gotta plug this in. So John Boyle's up.
Oh, John's up. John's up. Okay.
I heard my name.
There you go.
Background there.
Hey, Coach, just obviously the offense wasn't what you guys wanted it to be last week. What did you see when you went back and looked at it, and what do you guys need to do to kind of get on track?
I thought we started the game off good. The opening drive was really good. Went down the field. Weren't able to punch the ball in the end zone, but that's something we've done for the most part well all year, John, as we've kind of moved the ball down the field, gotten points, gotten touchdowns. Really, where we started to struggle was we just put ourselves in some long yardage situations. There's a couple drives I remember getting the 1st and 10, and we had really two pretty significant sacks. One, they brought a blitz inside. Peppers fired in the B gap and kind of surprised Jake Hollister. We took a big sack on that one, and then there was another one later in the game that kind of hurt us a little bit. But we didn't execute the way we normally do. We know we need to coach better. We know we need to play better. But the bottom line is this: you look at the film, you're always learning, right? Whether you win and score 35 points, or whether you lose and halfway through the game you're at 5 points. You're always trying to learn and grow and get better. I think we've never lost faith that we're a really good offense and that we'll bounce back.
Corbin?
Hey, Brian, looking a little bit more specifically here, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it seemed like the Giants were running a lot of 2 deep looks and mixing in some 3 cloud, and it seemed like that was really limiting your guys' ability to get those explosives downfield. Is there anything specific about those type of coverages that you think maybe has given Russ trouble, or does it just come down to you guys needing to do a better job schematically adjusting to that?
Yeah. Corbin, I think, number one, they did a really good job. They're a good defense. You looking back on it, you see their mentality. They came in here thinking, hey, they might have a rough day offensively, so hey, let's limit the big plays, let's limit the explosives for this Seattle offense that's explosive and very dangerous. And they did a nice job of that. I would say I probably could have adjusted a little bit better and thrown some more of the underneath stuff. We were hunting and we were trying to go get them, and they were sitting back there, and that led to us having to hold the ball a little bit. So I think they did a really nice job of trying to prevent us from doing that. And in those situations, we need to be better with the play calls and say, okay, they're not going to let us get there. And then also with some of the decisions we're making, Russ taking the underneath stuff. He and I are both wired the same way. We're both pretty aggressive and want to go for it. And in that game, it was not the right formula.
Thanks. Jen?
Piggybacking on that explosive play comment, the number of explosive plays has dropped in the last few weeks. To what degree does the offense miss those types of plays?
I think any team offense reacts to those momentum plays. You look at the Philadelphia game, there was some, we hit a couple big plays. We hit the big play to DK. There's big momentum swings. But we're good enough, Jen, to not have those plays and still be able to function and still be able to put points up on the scoreboard. We look for those opportunities. We love those opportunities. We have the playmakers to go and make those opportunities. And I think teams are looking at us and saying, okay, we're not gonna give you those plays. We're gonna make you go the long road, and we can do that too. We just didn't do it very well last week.
AJ?
Hey, Coach, so Russ started out the season just absolutely electric, and I think because of that, what's happened in the last few weeks, it feels like there's a bigger gap maybe than there actually is in his level of play. How have you seen him this week in particular after this loss react to that and get back to that neutral mindset he always talks to us about?
Yeah, really good question. He never changes. He's so consistent. Like, you wouldn't see him after we put up 35 points, whatever it is, and have a big win. He's really not any different on Monday. There's still things that he did well in that game. There's things that he did poorly. There's things offensively that we did well. He really doesn't change. I think you're right. It is getting a lot of attention because, boy, we were hitting all those different markers and stuff. And now, again, we're not playing as good as we can play. We're not coaching as good as we can play, but he doesn't change. And that gives the group, I believe, the confidence to know, we're still one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's still one of the best players in the NFL. There's no doubt that we are extremely dangerous and explosive and well-rounded. But that's cool to see. It's cool when your leader is one of those guys that he doesn't change much. Doesn't mean he doesn't get upset. Doesn't mean he doesn't get mad at himself for things or get mad at me for things. That does happen. But he doesn't change very often, and that consistency is why he's been such a great player for so many years.
Michael Sean.
Hey, Shotty, what's the furthest back you've dug deep to like take a concept or a play? I'm thinking of like how the Chiefs took a play from like the 1948 Rose Bowl or something.
In the Super Bowl?
Yeah. How far have you gone back to do something like that?
Probably within the 80s, not going back to the 40s. I think it's cool that they called that situation. I think what we're trying to do, Mike, and not put a date on it, but the one thing we are trying to do a good job of is we are trying to continue to be curious. And we're even throughout the whole year, we've been adding concepts that maybe we didn't really understand or have great ownership of. But we're studying a lot of football and watching what people are doing. Somebody asked me, it might have been you, about the Mahomes in motion and stuff like that last week. I think it was you. So, again, I think that's where we've grown. That's where I feel like one of the areas I've grown is I do have a lot of stubbornness. That Schottenheimer blood's pretty stubborn. But I have grown in that regard of trying to be curious. But to put a date on it, I definitely would not say it was back in the 50s or 60s Rose Bowl. But we are being curious and looking for things that we add that we're seeing that come to light, and it's been some good plays for us this year.
A separate question. You guys usually rank pretty low in like yards after the catch per completion the last few years. Is there any reason for that?
No. I mean, DK's actually done a really good job of it this year. A couple plays last week where he actually stepped out. He got away from Bradbury on one. The one against Patrick Peterson comes to mind. We have guys that can do that. Tyler's always very smart, if I'm going to be honest. Tyler's pretty smart. He gets going, and if there's guys closing in on him, he knows to kind of use the old Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, where you kind of dive in between them. So he's playing the long game in that regard. But we have guys that can do it, and we emphasize it. But, again, I don't have anything substantial to back that up.
Thanks.
Brady.
Hi, Brian. The amount that you guys threw the ball last week, how much was that influenced by Chris and Carlos being banged up? And based on what you've seen from those guys this week, how different do you feel like that could be game plan-wise?
Yeah, Brady, we went into the game, feeling really good about the attack, throwing the football. Chris has been working his way back. You probably noticed in the Philadelphia game he didn't play as much as he played last week. He felt better last week. That certainly gives you, gets you excited as a play caller. There were certainly times as I look back at that game with the way that they were playing that I should have mixed in a few more runs to him. But them getting back full speed, with him being back and Carlos feeling better, we're excited for that. Again, does that tell you how the game's going to go? Not necessarily, because we don't know how the Jets are going to respond. Are they going to come in here and play a split safety and cover two and do all that stuff? Or are they going to do what Philadelphia did, which come in and try to load the box and give us matchups on the outside? So, but a healthy Chris Carson, which, again, he's looked great, is something really good for the Seahawks.
And then one more kind of off-the-wall one. I've noticed a couple times on the TV copy that when you're making a play call, even with the mask on, it looks like you're covering your mouth. Is that just one of those
it's
old
habit?
habits that die hard?
It's habit. It really is. I'm so used to being on the field and holding the thing up in front where nobody. It's just habit is what it is. So, and again, I'm very cognizant of following the rules and not getting fined for wearing my mask.
Good idea. Thanks.
Bob.
Yeah, hey, Brian. Maybe you sort of answer this, what you said to Brady, but the fourth down calls the last couple of weeks to the people who are just like, why don't you just hand it to Chris and try to get the yard there? Does that, I guess, what all kind of played into some of those calls, especially last week, maybe?
Well, we always have a game plan. Bob, we have the game plan. We look at things. We know what they're trying to play. It's one of those situations where sometimes you call them, and when they work, they look like great calls. I was fine with the call last week. It was a good call. They had a better call on. We didn't execute it really to perfection. The one the week before, I didn't really love that call. So I think sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And again, I think with Chris being back, we know he can go and get a yard. But Philadelphia tried to run it a couple times on the second and third down plays and didn't get in. So you mix it up and you try to keep people off balance. But I'm well aware that when those things don't work, there's going to be second guessing, and that's all part of the job. But that's where all the preparation comes in when you're studying the film late at night and trying to come up with the best plan. And certainly self-scouting yourself is something that you have to be alert for as well.
Jackie?
Hey, Coach, what are the hallmarks that you see from this Jets defense, and is there anything that changes in your preparation with the new defensive coordinator?
Well, there's uncertainty, obviously, with them us not knowing, how Frank will call the game. Greg and Frank and Denard Wilson and I were all together with the Rams, so at least I know the personalities of those guys. Very, very good football coaches, but there's uncertainty. We don't know. We're not sure. What I see from them is a very, very good front four, very disruptive. The front four we played last week had a lot of big names, and this group, especially the two inside guys, are very dangerous. Williams is playing at a high level. He's very disruptive. Franklin Myers is, again, very disruptive. They get on guys' edges. They knock people back. They collapse the pocket. Basham was a guy when we were in Indy that we drafted him. It's been fun to see his development. So their front is really, really good. They're obviously young in the secondary, very young in the secondary, but we don't really know. And when you don't know, what you do is you go again with things that you're good at and core plays that we own, and we feel great that we can run against no matter what they do. But as the game unfolds, you normally start to get a feel, and that's when you try to figure out the puzzle, figure out the direction that it might go.
And last one for Shotty, Greg Bell.
Hi, Brian. Your boss about this time every year reminds us of the Lombardi 50 number of completions and rush attempts. And do you, during a game, keep track whether it's tick mark? Do you have a handle on how many rush attempts you're accumulating and maybe want to swing back to? Do you have an egg timer, or is there some kind of reminder thing as the game goes along with that?
No, that's a really good question. There's a guy up in the box that keeps track of that for me. Hey, where we are, run pass. The way you do it, Greg, is you do it. There's different numbers you look at, right? So P and 10, so first play of the series, you have those numbers. You have overall, which is the big no, okay, there's 30 plays, you're 20 and 10 or vice versa. And then there's earned first down. So whatever the defense would look at, you're getting reminded of those stats. You try to balance them up the best you can. But the number of 50 rushing attempts and completions, no. It's just the overall number of runs versus passes, not adding up the completions versus the rushing attempts. But he was quick to remind me on Monday that I think we were at 49. We didn't quite get the number that we wanted, and he was quick to remind me of that.
I'm assuming that's not a static number. I mean, you go in, your game plan is going to adjust. You have a target each week for what that number needs to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have a pretty good opinion. Things do change throughout the course of the game when opponents change or the defense changes the way they play us, but you do. And then when you look at it, a lot of times you're planning on, okay, hey, we start the game a certain way. Maybe you get the lead. Okay, now we got the ball in the fourth quarter. Hey, let's go finish the game off, run the football. Sometimes that balances up, and then sometimes you don't get a chance to balance it up. And last game was one of those games where we didn't really get to the balance that we wanted for different reasons. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Clutch.
Jen, do you have a question for Shaquille?
I do. Hey, we've heard from Pete and we've heard from others about the impact that Jamal Adams has made, but knowing that he is facing his former team, what can you say about having him as a teammate?
They made a mistake by letting him go. But no, I just feel like he brings a different energy for this defense, an energy that we definitely need. You can feel his energy is very contagious, and I feel like that's what this defense need. I don't know, he's just a different player out there. You know, it's just crazy because the way we use him, you know, it makes you want to be able to cover longer because you know a guy like that is going to make some plays happen. You know, he's going to make some sacks, and that's the best part about Jamal's game. And I feel really comfortable with him being in that back end with us. You know, he's just been great to have him, you know, on his team. So, you know, him facing his own team, he haven't changed anything. You know, the energy is the same. You know, his practice habits is the same. So that's a good sign. So I'm excited for him.
AJ?
Hey, Shaq, so you sort of talked about it there. He hasn't changed his practice habits heading into this week, but I have to imagine that not just with it being the Jets, but coming off of a loss, does the energy this week feel a little bit more, a little higher, or not desperate, but you know what I mean? Is coming off of a loss change the energy this week?
I wouldn't say is higher. I just feel like we just got back to our focus point. I feel like we kind of eased up off the gas a little bit, and now as everybody's locking back in, I feel like everybody's still, because we always been practicing hard. I just feel like we let that game kind of get the best of us, and then we came in taking the team lightly. You know, that's just being totally honest. And you know, it's some teams that, you know, in this league you can lose to anybody. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter they lost every single game. You can lose to anybody in this league if you don't play right. And I feel like we took that game lightly, and I feel like the focus point now is just refocusing. You know, treating every team the same, treating like a championship game like we continue to preach about. We just got to live by it. So when it comes to practice habits, everybody been the same. Everybody been practicing their butt off like we've been doing. It's just when we come to the game, we just got to continue to keep that same mindset, that same focus, and understand this is still a championship opportunity. You know, we got everything in front of us that we want, you know, and we just got to win it one game at a time, and that's the part that we got to get back to. So that was the focus point this week.
Michael Sean?
Hey, Shaq, how do you balance, you know, wanting to play well so, you know, you get what you're worth, you know, when your contract expires, and also just not trying to do too much at the same time?
Yeah, when it comes to that, I kind of I took that focus point away from the contracts and what could happen next. You know, I felt like when I got to that point, I felt like I wasn't living in the moment. You know, understand that it could be a process where if I'm here or I'm not here, it could be a chance where if I play with my brother next year, you know, it's so many different questions that's out there that will drive me crazy even trying to figure it out. So I got back to the main focus point and just helping this team win. You know, I love playing this game. I love playing with this team, you know, and being hurt kind of showed it the most. You know, being out for the last 3 or 4 weeks, you know, it eat me up alive. You know, the only thing I wanted to do was get back and just to play with the guys. Didn't matter what happened or what was going on. I just wanted to be back with those guys, run around, practice, laugh, and have fun. So, you know, that's my main focus. I want to do whatever it takes to get this team back to the Super Bowl and bring it back home. You know, that's my main focus. So that kind of helped ease my mind when it comes to contract talks or do I need to get this type of stat, or, you know, all that stuff is out the window for me. Whatever it takes to get this team to this championship, that's all I'm here for. So it's definitely a lot easier on my mental when it comes to thinking that way. So I kind of let the contract stuff go.
Masvita?
Hey, Shaq, I'm just wondering, you're back after a couple games. Where are you physically? How are you feeling? And then a follow-up on just Quandre Diggs.
I'm feeling a lot better. You know, it's always some different issues that any football player got to deal with throughout the season. It's a long season. But my body is definitely capable of going as fast and long as it can. So I've been feeling great, and I'm only getting better. I'm taking care of my body a lot more. I'm doing a lot more things. Continue to kind of like prepare myself for each game. And so I'm feeling great. And when it comes to Quandre Diggs, him leading that back end in picks, still kind of hurt about that. So, you know, there's some plays that I still got to make because I want to catch up. But no, he's been phenomenal this year. You know, that's someone I've definitely been rooting for this whole year. You know, he always complained about being in the back end, not being able to make enough plays. It's starting to get boring for him. But now he's making the plays that he's that you see him making it. So he's enjoying it. So I've been rooting for this guy, all year, and it's just cool to see him back there. You can see how much he learned from over the years. It's something I continue to learn from. He see this game a lot slower than most people who just getting in. I've been preaching for the main thing is each year this game continue to get slower for me, and now I can see it from his eyes. It's just been pretty cool. But that's one of the guys that I definitely count on every game. To make the same plays, to continue to be that leader that we need, to set the fronts and the people that we need to be in the right positions. He's been doing there for this team. He stepped up huge for us as a captain in that secondary, and that's something that we expect for the rest of the year. Like I said, I've been rooting for this guy, and he's doing amazing things, and I can't wait to see what's next.
John Boyle?
Yeah, Shaq, just curious what you thought about the way that DJ Reed is, what he's brought to you guys. He's started for you when you were hurt. He's started on the right side. He's played nickel, returned kicks and punts, just all the different things he's done for you guys.
I definitely feel like a lot of his work has been a little unnoticed. I feel like the things that he did to step up in a huge way, even when I was hurt or what's going on now, it's never been to a point where, okay, we put DJ Reed in and, okay, now we're going to attack this side. It's a little weaker on this side, or, we kind of fell off because we were missing some guys. DJ Reed stepped up in a huge way for us and making huge plays, and that's something that you can always ask for in a guy like him. So, and it's cool to see him step in a major way and have not missed a beat, not one bit, making the plays he need to make, and just being that guy we can count on. And that's huge when you have a guy like that, because you can put him anywhere. We talking about him playing corner, him playing nickel, put him in a return game, and he's making plays. Like, people would love to have a guy like that, and we're really lucky to have a DJ Reed on our team, because we can count on him to do whatever, and he's going to make the plays we need him to make. So I feel like he haven't been given enough credit for that, but we really appreciate, having DJ Reed on this team.
Joe Fan?
Hey, Shaq, you mentioned, and I appreciate your candor, saying that you guys maybe didn't take that game on Sunday as seriously as you needed to. When that happens, how do you acknowledge that as a team? Like, what conversations happen? Is it between players? Is it in official meetings? And how do you get back to that refocus? Because it is a pretty big thing to admit and be honest about. I think it's easy to say, oh, we didn't take them lightly and we tried our hardest, but to acknowledge that, take accountability for it, and then, move forward.
Situation like that, you gotta take it head on. I don't know, you got a lot of people who want to beat around the bush a little bit, kind of shy away from what actually was going on, what actually happened. But I feel like what's great about this team, this organization, we don't do that. We don't shy away from what actually has happened and what's actually going on. We talk about it, we fix it, and we move forward from it. And we came in, that Monday, and we spoke about the game and the mistakes that we made. We tried to correct it, but understand that that team was not supposed to beat us. Let's just be totally honest. They was not supposed to win that game, and we had to live with that. That's the taste in our mouth that no one never wants. That's the part that you can't go on with. You gotta live with that. And that's the main thing. So understand that we lost that game. We don't want that feeling anymore. We don't want to feel like this anymore. So that's why it was so great for us to go ahead and attack that head on. Attack the elephant that's in the room. And understand we took this team lightly. A team that was ready to play, that got a lot on the line, that still got a chance to be in the playoff. And as you see, they're in the run for it. So that's to understand, like, that's the team that we was going against. We couldn't take them lightly, and we did. So we addressed that. We got to fix it. We did, and now we're going on to the next week, and we can't have that same taste in our mouth going into this week. So it was cool to be a part of that discussion. Understand that we can't let that happen again. So
thanks, Shaq.
No doubt.
Curtis?
Yes, Shaq. I'm just curious. I mean, Quandre's the only guy in the back end that hasn't missed time due to an injury so far this year for you guys. Just how tough has it been trying to get everybody on the same page with Jamal coming in and all the moving pieces that you guys have had, and how do you feel that comfort level is starting to bed in at this point in the season now?
Well, it's been a crazy year. It's been a lot going on with injuries and stuff, and that's not something that we expect to happen. We hate that it did happen, but I feel like it's no better time than try to get all your pieces back together. When you're trying to make this playoff run, and you're trying to get to this Super Bowl, and you're starting to get everybody back healthy, this is when we need to hit our stride. So I'm getting a chance to get everybody back healthy. I'm finally back. Jamal's back there. We still got Quandre in there. We still trying to get Quentin Dunbar back fully healthy. We still got pieces that we still trying to get back right and trying to get back out there. So I feel like this is the best time to do it, to get everybody back healthy and hit our stride. So as of right now, it's been looking good. It's looking really promising. So I'm looking forward to it. I know everybody else is excited for it. And I can't wait to finally get everybody that we expect to play all together to start playing consecutive games together. You know, we haven't had no more than 3 or 4 games together where it was all 4 of us that was supposed to be in and playing with each other to build that chemistry. But right now, like I said, this is the best time to do it. You know, we got Quentin Dunbar coming back really soon, if not this week. So, you know, that's something that we're looking forward to, and we can make that run. We can start building that chemistry. There's no better way to build a chemistry right before we get to playoffs, so it wouldn't hurt.
We have time for one last one for Shaquille. Ben.
Curtis already kind of got mine, but just to kind of add to the Quandre thing, you know, how he's kind of been the guy that's been there throughout, you know, all the injuries you guys have had. Just in what ways has he been kind of a stabilizing, you know, force for you guys, having, you know, everyone in and out? You know, Quentin has missed time, Jamal's missed time, Ugo, Trey, you know, just in what ways is, you know, kind of with all his experience and now having kind of a full season, you know, training camp, all that with you guys, how has he, you know, been able to kind of keep that secondary together when you guys were really struggling at the start of the year?
Honestly, he's seen it all. He's seen it all. He's seen all different type of pieces being thrown in the game, and he had to find a way to work with it. Had to find a way to work with everybody. You know, and then when it comes to missing cornerbacks, missing safety, missing nickel backs, Quandre has been through it literally all with all different pieces on the board. So, you know, that's why I said he stepped in a major way in that room, and being the leader that we need him to be in that group, actually being one of the oldest, if not the oldest guy in that group, we needed that from him. And for him to be able to witness and go through every single injury that everybody had to withstand, for him to stay in and continue to keep pieces together, that's huge. He understands what works, what doesn't work, because he's been through it. So it's cool to see that, and that's the guy who I trust in the back end to make sure that we're right. You know, certain situations that we've been through that I felt like that I might not understand, he does because he's been through it. Even if I wasn't there to see it, he's seen it. And that's the guy that we continue to count on when it comes to getting the linebackers or the D-line, everybody set up in different spots. Quandre makes it happen. And like I said, when you've been through so much with everybody, with all the different pieces and different injuries, he's seen it all. So it's cool to be able to lean back on him to understand that as long as we got Quandre Diggs back there, we can make whatever's out there and whatever's going on, we can make it work with him. So it's been cool. He's been stepping up in a major way, and that's exactly what we needed from him. You know, he's the leader. That's the guy that we look up into that room, and we're still counting on him, and he's doing major things. So, like I said before, we rooting for that guy. He's been doing an amazing and phenomenal job.
Thanks, Shaq.
No doubt.
All right. Thank you, Shaq.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. I will go see if we can find someone else. Most of the guys are going to be out on the field here in about 9 minutes. But I will go check and let you know here shortly. Oh, looks like I'm unmuted. So we'll do Russell after practice about 3:30. So most of the guys are heading out. So maybe I'll see some of you here at 3 or at 2 o'clock for practice. If not, we'll see you at 3:30.
Thank you.